All right. So thank you for joining. I see about 40 participants. So that's really good news. That's about 1/3 of the class. Today, I thought I'll give you guys a quick idea about how the fall 2020 semester is going to run for CoCO. And this is sort of important because we need to get a head start on purchasing the equipment for the class. So I hope you guys have questions ready for me. We will get to those questions in some time. So the agenda for today is I'll just introduce myself for those of you who do not know me or haven't taken a class with me yet. Then we will talk about the equipment required for the studio exercises. Note that CoCO is a 4-credit-hour class, which has a significant lab portion to it. And we are going to see what equipment you guys need to purchase. Then we will go into the online resources that are going to be used for the class. I'll also talk about how the lecture is going to be run. And then we'll talk about the software that you guys will need to install, perhaps a week before classes start. And then I'll take your questions. So that's the goal for today. So that's me. My name is Mahmood Hamid. I've been with RPI for just less than 4 years now. And I teach a bunch of classes, starting from Intro to ECSE, which is ECSE 1010, Signals and Systems, KNOS, of course, CoCO, Communication Systems, Digital Communication, Capstone Design, and a core engineering class, which is Electronic Instrumentation. And CoCO is, probably my favorite class to teach. All right, let's move on here. Who is enrolled in this class? CoCO, for those of you who do not know, is primarily a sophomore level class. And there's no surprise when you look at these numbers. These are current enrollment numbers for this class. 4 freshmen, hats off to you. There are over 80 sophomores. There are some 16 juniors, and then we have 6 seniors in this class. The class is divided into 3 sections, and it is divided into those sections only because there are 3 different studio times. The lecture times are going to be the same for all 3 sections. So the differentiation over there is just the studio time. Okay. What is the required studio equipment? So there is a main FPGA board that each of you is going to be required to purchase. And it's called Pink Z2. That's the picture of the Pink Z2, the top view that you are looking at on the right. There is also an add-on board that you see in the middle of the slide. And there is, of course, a USB to micro B cable that you are going to use to connect the Pink Z2 board to your computer. And, I believe if you have an Android phone, or even if you don't have an Android phone, this is a very commonly used cable. So I believe you will have at least one lying around in your house. If not, it's not too expensive to purchase. Note that this cable does not come with the board. So when you purchase the board, the cable is not going to be in there. So the add-on board is a very recent addition to the board. It got it got tested and it is in manufacturing process right now. So you guys will be the first ones to use this add-on board, which has a bunch of inputs and outputs. So for example, if you see the top view of the add-on board here, you will see 8 dip switches, the slide switches, and you will see the 4 7-segment displays on the top. And then there are also a bunch of LEDs. There's an onboard clock here. So we can provide some inputs and look at some outputs using this add-on board. Without this board, we would have limited number of inputs and outputs. Specifically, you'll have 2 switches and some push buttons that are shown on the right. So that's why we need the add-on board. So 3 things are going to be required in terms of equipment. One is the Pink Z2 board, the other one is the add-on board, and then there is a micro USB cable. Now, this is the first time I'm going to be using this Pink Z2 board. Earlier, I used to use the Basis 3 board, and the reason for me to move over to this one is because the Pink Z2 board is cheaper than Basis 3, and also, more importantly, it has a processor on the board, so you can use this for as a standalone computer if you wanted to. There are a bunch of inputs and outputs that are, there's a HDMI cable, there is a SD card slot, there's an Ethernet port. There are lots of things that you could do with this board. As I said, it can operate as a standalone computer. However, we are not using it as a computer. We are using it as a FPGA programming tool. So we will essentially be using this to learn how to program FPGAs using VHDL. But if you have this board with you, you could use it for other projects. My main objective is I see you using this when you go on to your capstone design courses. So that's the reason why I moved away from Basis 3 to Pink Z2. Questions at the moment in terms of required studio equipment? Please feel free to use your mic, or it might be smoother to use your to use the chat box.
Dr. Hamida, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
So, for these materials, do you have like a link for each of the boards, or do we have to go to the school store website?
Oh, no. So I'm going to send you guys an email the first week of August, and that's actually my next slide. So I'm going to be giving you guys the links to purchase this board. It's going to be shipped directly from the manufacturer. The manufacturer of this board is TUL. They are based in Taiwan. Xilinx is the company that designed this board, but it is being manufactured in Taiwan, and it will be shipped to you from Taiwan. So I'll be giving you guys the links in the first week of August.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. There is no specific name, Zach, for the add-on board because so believe it or not, I think it was 2 weeks ago when it was the prototype was made. We tested it. I got my hands on a add-on board just yesterday. So I guess we can call it just an add-on board for Pink Z2. That's about it. And it actually fits onto the main board. So as you can see at the top of your Pink Z2 board, there is a Raspberry Pi board connection right in the top right corner. And that's actually what we will be using to connect the add-on board. So it fits onto the main board over there. You can interface this board with Arduino as well. So Pink stands for Python on Zinc. Zinc 7000 series is the FPGA that we are using here. Yes, the costs are coming in just a moment. So those are the 3 things that you will be expected to buy. Next slide. If I can move to next slide. Okay. Yes. This was slide 5. Yes, this is 6. Okay, so where should I purchase the equipment? I'm going to send out the class roster to TUL, and I will do that during the first week of August, maybe August 1st or 2nd. And that they are going to take a look at who is enrolled in this class at the moment, and then they are going to give you guys a reduced price for this board. So I believe we'll save a few tens of dollars because I have that student pricing for the students in this class. So with the student pricing, the reduced pricing, the Pink Z2 board is going to cost around $90, and the add-on board is an additional $10. So that's an even $100 for both the boards. And then you will have shipping costs associated with it as well. So 100 plus shipping And for some countries you might have to pay some import duty. So we can resolve all those issues in getting you the board as early as possible. So I would highly recommend that you start ordering the equipment during the first week of August. So as soon as you see an email from me with complete instructions as to what you need to purchase, what links to use to purchase, and the information you would need to provide to TUL, so that they know this order is coming from an RPI student who's enrolled in CoCO right now, right? So they can match you to the roster I give them, and then they will be able to give you the reduced pricing. So that's how this is going to work out. Nothing to do with the RPI bookstore. This is you guys directly purchasing the equipment from the place it got manufactured. And the boards should come to you. It of course depends on the mode of shipping that you ask for, and if things go well for us, they should reach you well before the start of the semester. Okay, questions about this slide. To address the question, when should I purchase the equipment? Okay, let's move on to where is my studio? Well, there were two categories, right? There was a remote instruction and there was hybrid instruction, and depending on the class, the number of students in each class, we are way above 60. We are close to 120 actually. So we will be fully remote in the fall semester. On top of that, it's primarily a sophomore class, so I will. We will all miss being together on campus. So the studio is going to be fully remote. It is going to be on Webex, and the time for which you will need to go on the studio Webex session is going to be your studio time. So depending on which section you enrolled in, you are going to go to that specific Webex meeting. On that Webex meeting, you will find me sometimes. You will definitely find the TAs that are going to help you for the studio exercise, and they will also be doing the check off for each studio. The studio exercises themselves will be available a few days before the actual studio. So 2-3 days ahead of time, I will be posting the exercises so that you guys can start working on them. And I will also make some videos that support the studios ahead of time, so that you can watch the video and you can work on the studio exercise. I recommend that you start early on this. So what should I do? What should I do once I get done with the studio exercise? Well, if you are done with the studio exercise, you would still go to your studio time Webex session and get checked off. So the TAs would need to verify that you have done the studio. And during this checkoff process, you are going to use the camera and microphone of your laptop to demonstrate the design. There are going to be some test cases. Okay, if I throw this switch, does this light come on, and so on. So there will be some test cases, and using those test cases, you will need to demonstrate that your design works to the TA, and the TAs will ask some questions during the checkoff process to make sure that you have good understanding of what you are actually doing. So that's how studios are going to work. Now, to accommodate various time zones, we have alternate remote studio times later in the day. So during Wednesday afternoon sessions, early morning, late afternoon sessions, those are regular studio times. In the evening, we will have alternate studio times where students in various time zones, or maybe they are in China or India, they can log on to the Webex session to get checked off during the studio. So we have regular studio, alternate studio times. They will all be on Wednesday. That's what my plan is for now. And depending on how things go, we might have to add on more and more office hours and studio help session. We will do that as we get close to the start of the semester. Ajit asks a very important question. Will the exercises be group based or they are going to be individual? So my goal is for the first few exercises to be individual exercises. So maybe 3 exercises at the beginning of the semester will be individual exercises, 3 or 4. That will make sure that each one of you has learned the basics very well, the fundamentals of FPGA programming very well. And as the FPGA exercises, the studio exercises become more and more complex, then maybe from the 4th studio onwards, I will ask you guys to group up as a group of 2 students. From then on until the end of the semester, you will be working as a group of 2. So that's my plan. No, you don't. Zach asks a question. Do you have to pick a time? Well, you have to pick a time for us to get a sense of how many students are going to be available during that time so that we can allocate the TA resources appropriately. But you don't have to follow that every time. Only in some certain special cases, you might say, okay, I have an interview in the afternoon on Wednesday, so I want to attend the alternate studio time. So if it's on a occasional basis, like sometimes it's happening, then it's fine. But I want to know from you if that is the case, right? So I can allocate the TA resources according to the number of students that are going to go to those sessions. Can the students in China work with the students in US? Absolutely. So the students in China, India, USA, they are all going to be working together. So when you group up after maybe 1 month into the semester, you will start grouping up as groups of 2. And the moment that happens, you can pick whoever you want. You can pick people from US, from anywhere. The only problem with that is for you guys to coordinate your times. So if you're able to coordinate the times that you're going to be working on the studio together, that's all that matters. Okay, let's see. I'm going to keep a track of the session here. Can the students... okay, so yes, you are allowed to work with students in different time zones as long as you guys in the group are able to agree on the times you will work together, right? So if you have a friend in the US and you would like to work with them, go for it. But you will have to communicate between each other when are those times going to be, right? That you will work together. So, all right. Next, if you don't get it, let's go back to this question here. If you don't get checked off in one session, are you allowed to enter another session to get checked off? Yes, but I'm going to allocate those sessions in a strategic manner. So some sessions are going to be strictly for students who enrolled in that section, but some sessions are going to be where anybody can go. So yeah, you are going to have alternate times available, but there are also going to be some Webex studio sessions that are specifically for students in that section. So the answer is yes. There will be another session, but note that not all sessions are open for everyone. Okay, let's see. Jerry, okay, thanks. Can you work in another section? Yes, you can work with someone from another section, again, as long as you are able to coordinate the times together, right? So it comes down to whether the students are able to say, all right, let's work on this from this time to this time, and then, but you guys need to be available during the checkoff process as a team. So the TAs are going to ask you questions as a team. Yes, thank you, Jerry. Okay, other questions? Sorry, I missed it. Where is? Oh, yeah, it's there. Uh, I may or may not be. Oh, that's a very tough question. Um, well, when do you think you will decide about this? All right. So for now, I won't buy the board right away. I'm not sure, whether I will be teaching the class in the spring or not. So I don't want to ask you to spend some money and then not have you use the board later on. So, I would say, just in your case, purchase the board when you are ready to enroll in this class. But I hope that happens at least a couple of weeks before the start of the semester. But for everyone else, you should start buying the equipment as soon as you have made up your mind that you're taking the class and you see an email from me giving you all the instructions. Okay, did I miss any other question? I think we are okay. Someone on what? So the textbook. Okay, here we this is an interesting thing. Because I am asking you guys to buy the board, I want to relieve some of the financial, responsibilities here. So I don't want to ask you to buy the board, ask you to buy the textbook, so I don't want to do that. Which is why I have made the textbook for this class optional. So you can use it as an optional resource if you want to. But it is not required for you to purchase that book. So in the past, it was required. Now I've made it optional because I want to, you know, spend. I want to encourage you to spend the money where it's absolutely necessary. Yeah, the name of the book is Digital Design. Let me see, it's right here. Okay, so I'm going to type in the name of the book in the chat box. Digital Design, and the author's name is John Wakerly. And it is the 4th edition that we typically use for this class. Again, I'm making this book optional because for this class you can find a lot of resources. I'm teaching this class in the summer, so you have all those videos to watch anyway. So there are plenty of resources. On top of that, so purchase the book if you think that you need that additional reading to go along with the video lectures. But if you are a kind of student who does not read much, then it's okay for you to not buy the book and use the other resources that are required for this class. Okay, what is the book? What is the name? All right, I gave the book and the name and the author. Let me see. Any other questions, or can we move on? I think we can move on. Where is the lecture? Well, on Webex meetings, Tuesday, Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. Eastern, and it is going to be the same time for all the three sections. It will be recorded. I use YouTube to post the recorded videos, and I have been doing this in the spring as well as in the summer. Actually, CoCo is I'm teaching CoCo during the summer term right now. And if you want to get a head start, and if you want to start looking at the lecture materials, if you want to start the learning process right away, you can do that. So just go on to YouTube, search for my name. That's the channel. And the playlist is RPI ECSE 2610. So just go to that playlist, which is linked over here. Right now, if you want to take a snapshot of this, you can take a snapshot of this, because I don't think you will be able to enter it. Are all the lectures definitely going to be online this semester? Yes, all the lectures are definitely going to be online this semester, because mainly a sophomore class and the size of the class is greater than 100. So if we have a class that is greater than 60 students, then it qualifies as a fully remote class based on the RPI's policy. So lectures and studios, everything online, and that's actually what we have been doing in the summer, and so far it's been going okay. So for those of you who wanted to get a head start, I hope you have used your phone maybe to take a picture of the current slide, so that you can later type it into your browser, because obviously you might not be able to click on it right in the video. All right, so let's keep moving here. We talked about the lecture, and the lecture is going to kind of run this way, right? I'm showing you some slides. I'll be actually writing through on the slides when I do the lecture, and then you guys will be interacting with me using the chat box. Okay, next slide. Come on, go to the next one. Online tools. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry has posted the playlist for this class in the chat box. So please, it doesn't work. All right. Well, let us see if I can help. So in the meantime, all right, bunch of people have posted the link, so I guess you can you can grab that. So this is only if this is of course optional. I'm not asking you to watch the videos. I'm just saying, in case you wanted to get a head start, if in case you wanted to, if you are curious as to how the class is going to be, how is the recording quality, those kind of things, just for curiosity purposes, nothing else. I'm not requiring you to watch the videos. I hope we are clear on that. Let's see, what are the online tools that I use for this class? I love using Piazza as a discussion medium between the students and the teaching staff. I've been using that for the last two years for almost all my classes, and I will continue to use Piazza for CoCo next semester. So if you have any question at any time, just go on to Piazza, ask the question. And when you ask that question, everybody in the class, the TAs, the instructor, the other students, everybody will be able to see that question. And if the students have the answer, they will answer it. If the TAs have the answer, they will answer it, or I will answer it. So it is a community discussion forum for Q&A about this class. So I think many of you have already used it, so it shouldn't be a new tool that you use. GradeScope, we are going to use that for all the submissions and grading purposes. So it's a free resource that many of the classes at RPI uses for homework submission, studio submission, exam submission, grading purposes. Everything happens through GradeScope. And then I use, as I said earlier, I use YouTube to to make the recorded lectures available to you. And right now I plan to continue using YouTube just because it is very accessible, and you can use the 2x speed option in YouTube, which many of the students have said that they use it a lot. So I think the people in China are going to not be able to watch that YouTube lecture. So if you run into some accessibility issues and you're not able to attend the class, coordinate with me, and I will try to get the lecture material to you in other ways. Okay, next. We are also going to be using Webex meetings, of course, for live lectures, for exams, for office hours, and so on. So Webex meeting, the thing that we are using right now, is going to be probably used the most during the semester. Questions? All right, looks like no questions, so let's move on. The software that we need to for the studios, let me take a question here. Will we get the link for all these before classes? Yes, you will get the link for all these before the first day of class. All right. Next, let's see, software for the studios. So if I want to program the FPGA board, I need a software on my computer so as to help me write the VHDL code. So there are mainly two programming languages that you use to program an FPGA. One is VHDL, the other is Verilog. We will be using VHDL for this class. And the software suite that we are going to need to install on our computer, and this can happen the first week of classes, is Vivado Design Suite 2019.2. That's the version, and the edition that I would ask you guys to install on your laptops. Each laptop is the Webpack edition of the Design Suite. And for certain studios for certain studios that are based off of the 7400 series ICs, we will need a different software called LogicWorks. For now, don't worry about it. When it is the right time for these studios, I will make this available to you. But LogicWorks 5, it's not a heavy software to install. It takes probably like 5 minutes to install that. So, and we will be working on LogicWorks probably in the middle of the semester, So we can figure that out later. But during the first week of classes, I will be asking you guys to install the Vivado design suite on your laptops individually. So as I said, during the first 3 or 4 studios, you guys will be tackling the studio exercises individually to get the really good grasp of VHDL. After that, as the studios become more and more complex, then you can team up with your uh, friends. All right, Q&A time. So that means that I had that in mind. Apart from that, it's going to be questions that you ask. So please go ahead with your questions in the chat box. So I recommend. So the question on the chat box is, I have an in-person class after CoCO. Would I be missing anything by only viewing the recorded lectures? My response to that is, if you have a class right after CoCO, during the CoCO class time, I would expect you to be logged in to the live class. So if you can watch the live lecture on Webex meetings, then you don't miss out anything. You get what everybody else is getting. But if you watch the recorded lectures, you will be getting the lecture content. However, you will not have the opportunity for asking me questions in a live environment. You will still be able to ask me questions on Piazza, but that live interaction will not be possible. That's the only thing that I would say you will be missing out on. Next, could you send us an email with all the links of the equipment, software? Yes, Rojan. So, as I said, I have not yet made the roster. So, I need to tell TUL that these are the students who are enrolled in my class. These are the names of the students who are enrolled in my class. And I want you to offer them student pricing. Once I do that, then I can give you guys those links to buy the equipment. So expect an email from me during the first week of August, with all the detailed instructions for the boards. How do you need to order? If there are any additional comments that you need to provide while you make that order, and so on. So the answer to your question is yes, but in the first week of August. Next, how will exams work? So exams are going to be conducted online. So because it's a pretty big class, I will have to split you guys up into smaller groups, and then you will log on to a Webex meeting session where there will be a TA proctoring the exam. So the TA will make the exam available to you. You will take the exam while you have your microphone and camera on, so that they can proctor the exam. And then you will write your answers, you will scan your answers and upload to Gradescope. So there are lots more details regarding exams that I can provide, but all those details, there are too many details. But my short answer is, you will be at home taking the exam with a laptop in front of you, with a microphone on and the camera on, so that we can proctor the exam. Okay. Will this class be fully online? No, it's going to be fully online. And depending on, so I see that around 20% of the class is going to be on campus. Well, 20% of the class is juniors, seniors, and freshmen. out of that 20%, maybe 10 to 15% might be actually on campus. And if that is the case, depending on how the reopening actually pans out, I may give you some of you the option to come to my office and work on your studio, perhaps. But that is a big maybe right now. But otherwise, the class is fully online teaching. Fully online, yes. Okay, so this class has both lectures and labs. They will both be online, yes. Will Mac system work for this course? Yes, it will work for this course. I believe it will work for this course. If it doesn't, then you might have to do a dual boot, which is still doable. Yeah, it has a Windows version and it has a Linux version. It does not have a Mac compatible version. So as the students are suggesting, boot camp installation, yes, dual boot, yes, yeah. Okay, what else? Well, thank you, Richard. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm missing interacting with students a lot, but I guess the real answer to your question is I'm safe. It this is tough, man. This is tough. This is tough because the personal element to this is not that great. So, oh, it's not actually. The virus stuff is not bad at all. Well, I should be careful here. If you compare it with how bad it was, it's not that bad. Yeah, so they have increased the testing in New York. So every day there are about 60,000 or 70,000 tests that they are conducting, out of which around 1% are turning out to be a positive cases. So we are hovering around 1% for the last month or so, maybe over a month. All right, Michigan is dropping too, it looks like. Is there an accurate syllabus where we can get at the moment, or do we? What would you like to know about the syllabus? So if you have because I have not written up the formal syllabus completely yet, but if you have a specific question at the moment regarding the syllabus, I can answer it. All right, let's see here. Great breakdowns. If they are absolutely, office hours are going to be there. Lots of them. The real problem will be about whether you are using all the resources or not, because there will be a lot of office hours available. The times of office hours, I have not decided that yet, but there will be office hours from the instructor. There will be office hours from the TAs, and we typically have 4 to 5 graduate TAs and maybe 2 to 4 undergraduate student assistants for the class, because it's a pretty big class. So all of them will be holding help sessions and office hours. So you will have all that information after I know who the TAs are, I know who the undergraduate student assistants are, what are their schedules, and then once I have all those meetings, I can make that information available to you. But I should say that the office hour information is not going to be set in stone until the first day of classes, and sometimes even after the first week of classes there will be a slight adjustment to it, but there will be a lot of office hours available. Grade breakdowns. Okay, let grade breakdowns. I have this in mind for now. So homework on a weekly basis, individual assessment. So this is supposed to be done by each student individually, but you can discuss ideas with your other friends, your friends in the class. But that's worth 10%. Now these numbers that I'm showing you over here, they may change a bit. They may change a little bit before the start of the semester. But this is what I have in mind at this moment. Studio exercises, 20%, and they will be weekly. Midterm 1, 20%, which is going to be once a semester. Midterm 2, 20%, once a semester. Final exam, 30%, once a semester. So the thing that I'm trying to change after I figure out how to change that is the final exam. The final exam is 30%, which is a little bit too much for one assessment. So maybe I want to I'm looking at ways to have maybe one more midterm exam so as to help reduce the weight on the final exam. But these are the numbers I have in mind right now. Will those office hours also be conducted online? So some office hours are going to be conducted online, but they might be sometimes that they might be very limited in-person office hours. Mainly it will be online. And that's kind of what we are doing in the summer. Office hours are remote, instruction is remote, studios are remote. So it's probably going to be more or less the same for fall, except that you know some students will be on campus, so they might have an option to stop by my in-person office hours. But that again depends on how the reopening pans out, and if any guidance from RPI administration changes. All right, other questions? Did I miss any question here? What percent are labs going to be our exams? Okay, so I got that. I want to make sure that yes. Okay. All right. I hope you guys are seeing the may change a bit in the headline here. This is I'm not committing to this grading composition. I just want to give you an idea about how things are going to look like. Are these classes? Yeah. So there are two aspects of this course, right? One is the lecture and the other is the studio. The lecture is going to be on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10:30 to 11:50 a.m. Eastern. And everybody goes to the same lecture. The studios, there are 3 sections for the class. And there are 3 different times for the studios. That's why you are split up into 3 different sections. So depending on which section you signed up for, section 1 or 2 or 3, you would actually go to that particular studio section, with some exceptions. So there are 2 things. Yeah. Okay. All right. Who else has a question? What? Nobody else has a question? Since the semester will end on Thanksgiving break, will we be expected to learn the material in? No. So I'm not going to expect you to learn things in a faster or slower manner. Uh, the instruction will still continue, right? Even after Thanksgiving break, after you guys go home, there will still be some classes that are left over. So since we are already online, that shouldn't be a big challenge for us. Things should go on a normal pace. Yes, the class will exist after Thanksgiving. So there will be maybe like 4 lectures, maybe after Thanksgiving break, and then you will have the final exam. Brilliant. All right. Who else has a question? Well, at this time, let's see. I'll stop recording here.